Hello, everyone. I'm B, and I'm going to be talking about football, specifically Arsenal. Now, Arsenal over the weekend, I believe it was Sunday, they played against Man City in the League Cup final, the Carabao Cup. First opportunity to win silverware, and Arteta squanders it. Obviously, if you've seen the game, there was a mistake by Kepa. He spills the ball, and O'Reilly is there later in the game. The kind of defense is loosening up, and O'Reilly scores another goal, makes it 2-0. Man City take home the silverware in a pretty poor season, in my opinion, to other Man City teams we have seen. Obviously, there's talks, or I can say there's a topic at least about Pep Guardiola's inflation that he usually gets really good teams, and usually they come out with something throughout a season. But right here, it's like Arteta just giving him the trophy. Mainly because mainly the reason why I say that is because, like, obviously Arteta on a newer area of managers compared to Pep Guardiola, but definitely some mistakes in that squad choice, I would say, because you could easily go with Raya. And not only that, mm, I saw the game and I didn't think Gorkarez wasn't doing so well, um, especially his um his lack of urgency off the ball really wasn't doing him no favor. I feel like he should have been swapped out for Havertz or Gabriel earlier. Especially with the stacked bench that Arsenal does have. They have the squad depth. I feel like they have a way better squad, and they are a way better team than Man City at this moment. Obviously, they are still top of the league. They're still in the Champions League. They have um, the reasons to believe that they are better, but for some reason, whether it be Arteta or the squad that has this title race at hand, they don't really play with that belief. And like obviously when it comes to winning a league title, there's many factors, and not just the league title. Like that could have been the quadruple for Arsenal, and yes, like it would have been a very disappointing way to win a quadruple with so many corners, set pieces, parking the bus, all these lame tactics that are of no fault of Arteta, but rather the sort of manufacturing of the Premier League and top flight football. So yeah, I guess it is a good thing that Arsenal lost because they have no longer that ability to make the quadruple with such a lame form of making it through. The treble is still on, obviously, but not if they're gonna do what they did on Sunday for the next couple games in the Premier League and the Champions League, just because it was basically Arteta handing the Carabao Cup over to Pep, and honestly, from a person who's seen Alexis Sanchez, obviously Arsene Wenger, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, these good figures that came through the Arsenal team, you want to see joy for them, even if like there's a term called Arsenal racism, like people don't want Arsenal to do good, but I also don't want to see a monopoly of just Pep Guardiola winning the league back to back. Not that interesting either. But it's been very competitive. This is probably the most competitive ending to a season in the Premier League for a while. Just because you have, the top two, Man City and Arsenal, going at it. Arsenal have those kind of nerves. And also the bottom half that I'll probably make another video about. Really, I just want to focus on what was Arteta doing, not only with the lineup, the choice of Kepa over Raya. Maybe that's a little bit explainable because that is the keeper that got you to that position. Give him that opportunity to win you that silverware. But you have David Raya, which is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and you're not going to use him in a cup final, especially taking into account that Kepa has played multiple finals in the past, and he hasn't had a good record with it. So really, just some questionable choices from Mikel Arteta. Also, the form of play. I hear people kind of criticizing it because of Arteta parking the bus, which is To each their own. They have their own benefits of playing football the way they like to play it. However, I felt like it did um, fit into kind of Mikel Arteta's style, just because he was relying mostly on Declan Rice ball carrying or those long throw ins, the long passes to open up the Man City um, back line. However, really listing all these things to you, yes, it fits with the Arteta kind of theme and the Arsenal theme. And I think that's the issue. Arteta and Arsenal have been for 6 years only winning a Community Shield, I think it was. That's very rough. And 6 years is a lot of time, especially in the footballing world. Like, I've heard some fans, some Arsenal fans, or some neutrals even say that if Arsenal doesn't win the league or win some silverware this year, then they would want Arteta out. When, like, really, he's built something that everyone else has been struggling to in Arsenal. The last final piece is to switch that kind of mentality or the self image that Arteta or that Arsenal team have. Obviously, from the outside, I'm not really able to identify whether it is the squad or Arteta with that kind of flaw in their mindset. But I believe that's what it is, just because, like I said, they have the identity of like being the smaller club to Man City, of not winning silverware, not like I guess not playing with the balls of someone who would win. And they gotta flip that because they have the better squad in my opinion. Like we've seen Man City and Arsenal go back and forth. Obviously it's tight. This is top division football. Um, but really that's what it looks like. It's just that they still have the identity of 6 years, one community shield trophy. They might be scared, they might be worried, who knows? But they gotta change the mentality and go from 6 years to no title to we are gonna win the treble. We are going to win the quadruple. We're going to win big pieces of silverware and put a name for ourselves so that we can believe in ourselves and actually continue conquering more. And obviously, they're not conquering yet because they haven't won anything. But it's never going to change unless they kind of see that change in themselves. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. And Mikel Arteta is just throwing away the Carabao Cup because, oh, I have three other competitions that are way more important. Like the Carabao Cup doesn't really matter. It's the fourth competition for them. They still got the FA Cup, the Premier League, which they are clear on. Like, it's them to lose it. But if they continue doing what they just did, then they will lose it because not only does Man City have a game in hand, they still have to face Man City at the Etihad. It's it's definitely going to be a challenge, especially if what I'm saying is true and Mikel Arteta just still hasn't made that change, or the Arsenal squad still hasn't made that switch from, oh, we've been 6 years with a community shield for our trophy and that's it. They gotta instill in themselves and I guess roll the dice a little. Just bet on yourselves with that confidence of like, hey, we put ourselves in this position to fight for this league, for fight for this Carabao Cup. We can definitely win it. Um, that's what I was thinking is the main factor for this, just because I watched Mark Goldbridge's video and yeah, he's not a big fan of the kind of game that Arsenal plays. I don't think a lot of people are, but I've seen other Arsenal games and this is how they play. And they've gotten to top of the Premier League a couple times, fighting for that title, doing that. It's just unfortunately they've refused to let go of the identity of, I guess, not cowards, but kind of cowering backwards, like they're not sure if they can win it. When if you're not sure you're gonna win it, then you're probably not gonna win it. You got to be sure in your mind that you're capable of doing something, or that you have enough talent and expertise to believe in yourself that you are good enough to do this. Then you will be able to, win the league, overcome any kind of challenge. It's not rocket science. It's just I can only imagine how the players and how the management feel in a quadruple race. That is crazy, especially taking into account that you haven't won a trophy in 6 years, and that it wouldn't have been done ever before. And Obviously, the media is of no help as well, just because, like I said, a lot of people are no fans of how Arsenal have been playing football. Really, I don't think that's Arteta or Arsenal's fault. It's more of the competition and how it's brought us to the moment we are in time right now. Where in the Premier League, the refing, the VAR, is all kind of just bad, really, in my opinion. It could be better. You are the top league in the country or in the world, I mean, and there's still little mistakes for things like that. There's no penalties for time wasting. There's many different things that are factors to this, but I don't think people should really see that as such a negative when Arsenal are putting themselves in opportunities to win trophies. The thing about this, though, what I'm saying is that still Arsenal will shoot themselves in the foot and play conservatively, play submissively, as some have said, play with a keeper that is your second choice and is not the best track record for playing the finals and winning. So yeah, it's something that's, I believe, the talent is there, the strength is there, they have what it takes, but the mentality may be that, oh, they are scared, they want to conserve energy, so let's throw away this one. Which I believe, if they hold on to that long enough, they're not going to win anything, and Man City will catch up to them, and then Arteta will eventually leave, because truthfully, that's not a world that I would like to be in, or a club that I would like to support. Um, like if Arteta doesn't win the league and he's not able to get close to it or win anything in the next couple seasons, then yes, for sure, out. Find someone better for the job. Arsenal are not supposed to be a mid-table club or second place club. They are supposed to be up with Man United, which is unfortunately, at the time being not one of the better clubs. But historic wise, you look through the history of Premier League, you're supposed to have about six big teams that really challenge for things, and Manchester United and Arsenal are supposed to be on top of all those. And obviously, you can't just live in the past forever. But that's where I believe Arsenal need to stand. Um, and that's really just my take on the situation. Let me know what your thoughts are. Am I wrong? Do you think it's something else that may be scaring Arteta away? Do you think that Arsenal are not the better squad compared to Man City? And yeah, there's still three pieces of silverware for them to win. I would like to know, what are your thoughts? What does it mean if they win? What does it mean if they're not able to come with anything? As a neutral or an Arsenal fan, how do you feel about this kind of performance and what it holds for the future? One thing I heard someone else say, I don't believe it was on a YouTuber or Sky Sports, that they had said that the Carabao Cup loss doesn't really matter if they go on to win the Premier League, but it would matter if they lose the Premier League, which is very interesting with a lot of moving parts. You can't really predict the future, and football is just completely random. So stay tuned in for the discussions, and let's see who really wins the league, who really wants it. But that's all for me. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you later.